Have you ever noticed that the kindest people in your circle often become victims? That they get used, betrayed, yet they keep helping everyone around them? Today, I'm going to tell you a disturbing truth about empathy, something psychologists don't talk about that could completely change your understanding of human relationships. We've been taught since childhood to be kind, understanding, compassionate. Put yourself in someone else's shoes, be merciful, help your neighbors. These beliefs are buried so deep in our subconscious that we don't even question their consequences. But what if I told you that empathy might not be a virtue, but a serious psychological trap? That it turns people into victims of their own kindness. You'll recognize yourself in these situations. You constantly say yes when you want to say no. Other people's problems become your problems. You feel guilty when you put your interests first. People use your kindness and you put up with it. If even one of these points describes you, stay until the end. I'll show you the dark side of human nature that we don't talk about out loud. What empathy really is. Empathy is the ability to feel another person's emotions as your own. Sounds noble, right? But let's dig deeper. Empathy works through mirror neurons in our brain. When you see someone else's suffering, your brain automatically activates the same areas as the suffering person. Essentially, you literally feel someone else's pain. Evolutionarily, this made sense. Helping your tribe mates meant the survival of the entire tribe. But in the modern world, empathy often becomes a weapon used against you. The dark side of empathy: 5 psychological traps. Trap number 1, emotional exhaustion. When you constantly channel other people's emotions through yourself, your psyche works itself to the bone. You spend your energy solving other people's problems, and you have no strength left for your own life. Example: your friend calls you every day with new drama. You listen, empathize, give advice. The result? She feels better, and you feel drained and exhausted, day after day. Psychologists call this emotional vampirism. Some people intuitively understand that they can feed off other people's empathy, and they actively use it. Trap number 2, loss of boundaries. Hyper-empathetic people don't know how to say no. They feel guilty when they refuse to help, even if that help harms them. This happens because they feel other people's disappointment so strongly that they're willing to hurt themselves just to avoid upsetting someone else. Classic example: a colleague constantly asks you to work overtime for them. You agree because you see their difficult situation. As a result, you're doing the work of 2 people while they get all the credit. Trap number 3, manipulation through pity. Smart manipulators quickly identify empathetic people and exploit their kindness. They tell sad stories, play the victim, guilt trip you. And empathetic people can't refuse someone who's suffering, even when they logically understand they're being used. Example: your acquaintance constantly borrows money, telling heartbreaking stories about their problems. You give because you feel their pain, but they never pay you back, and somehow their problems never get solved. Trap number 4, savior syndrome. Empathetic people often feel responsible for other people's happiness. They try to save everyone around them, forgetting about themselves. But here's the paradox. The more you try to save someone, the more helpless they become. You rob them of the opportunity to solve their own problems and grow as a person. Trap number 5, attracting toxic people. Empathetic people attract narcissists, psychopaths, and other toxic personalities like magnets. Why? Because such people look for those they can easily use. A toxic person intuitively senses that an empathetic person will excuse their bad behavior, not set firm boundaries, and give them attention and resources without reciprocation. Why good people lose? The scientific explanation. Research in evolutionary psychology shows an interesting pattern. In society, about 4% are psychopaths, 6% are narcissists, and around 15% have antisocial traits. These people aren't burdened by empathy. They easily use others without experiencing guilt or regret. In competitive environments, they often win precisely because they're willing to do anything to achieve their goals. Meanwhile, empathetic people play by fair rules in a game where many participants are cheating. Neurobiologist James Fallon studied the brains of successful CEOs and politicians. The results were shocking. Most had reduced activity in areas responsible for empathy. This doesn't mean being kind is bad. It means blind kindness without protective mechanisms makes you vulnerable. How to fix the situation. 7 strategies for smart empathy. Strategy number 1. Distinguish between empathy and compassion. Empathy is when you feel another person's pain as your own. Compassion is when you understand another person's pain but maintain emotional distance. Imagine yourself as a doctor. If a doctor felt every patient's pain as their own, they'd quickly burn out and be unable to help anyone. But if they understand the patient's pain and help professionally, they're effective. Practical exercise. When someone tells you about their problems, mentally imagine a glass wall between you. You see and hear their emotions, but they don't penetrate you. Strategy number 2. Set clear boundaries. A boundary isn't a wall that separates you from the world. It's rules for interacting with other people. Examples of healthy boundaries? I don't discuss work issues after 7 p.m. I don't lend money. I don't do other people's responsibilities. I don't tolerate insults directed at me. Remember, when you set a boundary, some people will be unhappy. That's normal. Those who respect you will accept your boundaries. Those who don't probably were using you. Strategy number 3. Learn to recognize manipulation. Manipulators use typical techniques. Guilt, after everything I've done for you. Pity, I'm having such a hard time, only you can help. Flattery, you're so understanding, unlike others. Ultimatums, if you don't help, our friendship is over. Study these techniques. When you know them, you're harder to fool. Strategy number 4. Practice selective empathy. Not all empathy is equally useful. Learn to choose who and when you give your emotional resources to. Ask yourself, does this person really need help or just want attention? Are they trying to solve the problem themselves or waiting for me to do everything? Are our relationships mutual or do I only give? Will my help serve them long-term or create dependency? Strategy number 6. Develop cognitive empathy. There are 2 types of empathy. Emotional, you feel other people's emotions. Cognitive, you understand other people's emotions but don't experience them. Cognitive empathy is a superpower. You understand what's happening with a person, can predict their reactions, but maintain clarity of thought. How to develop it? Observe people like a researcher. Analyze their behavior. Look for patterns. Study psychology. But don't emotionally immerse yourself in every situation. Strategy number 7. Protect your resources. Your empathy is a resource, like time or money. If you spend it thoughtlessly, it runs out. Practical tips? Set aside time for emotional recovery. Don't solve other people's problems at the expense of your own. Learn to say no without explanations. Surround yourself with people who also care about you. Balance between kindness and strength. The goal isn't to become callous and indifferent. The goal is balance. A strong person can be kind by choice, not by compulsion. They help those who truly need help and don't allow themselves to be used. Think of yourself as a bank. You have capital of kindness and empathy. You can invest it in people who deserve it, but you don't throw it around left and right. Do this simple exercise today. Recall situations in your life where your kindness was used against you. Analyze them through the lens of what you learned today. And tomorrow, try saying no in a situation where you'd normally agree to help at your own expense. See what happens. Most likely, the world won't collapse, and you'll feel stronger. If this video changed your understanding of human relationships, like and subscribe. In future episodes, we'll explore even more uncomfortable truths about human psychology. And remember, being kind is wonderful, but being smartly kind, that's power.